The Influencer's Edge is brought to you by the Rapid Sales Accelerator. If you're ready to skyrocket your sales by 30% or more in just 90 days, then you need to claim your free training right now. You'll learn 4 words that will compel your prospects to trust you like they were children within the first 3 to 5 minutes of any conversation across any platform and any medium. You'll learn how to give your prospects objection amnesia, to crush objections like, I need to talk to my spouse, or I need more time to think it over, or it's too expensive. If you'd like to claim your free training now, go to www.paulrossbook.com. Do it before your competition does it now. Thank you for tuning in to the Influencer's Edge, where you get the latest breakthroughs, cutting-edge insights, tools, and techniques so you can leapfrog over the pack in sales, influence, and persuasion. Remember to visit our website at www.theinfluencersedge.com to enjoy even more great episodes like this one. We look forward to seeing you again on the Influencer's Edge Show.
Hey, Tracy, pick it up from here. Welcome back to the Influencer's Edge, the show that disconnects the dots. Say it with me, ladies and gentlemen. Colors outside the lines and thinks outside the box. Today, I am joined by my supervisor, my black cat, La Lele Houdina. No, not on the keyboard, fart face. And our special guest, Bianca. How do you say your last name, love?
D'Alessio.
Ooh, the delectable Dita.
I'm so excited to be here.
Well, I'm such a flirt. I can't take it. I can't stand it. All right, let's do a bit of your bio, which I'm going to speed through. You are the star of HBO Max acclaimed series, Selling the Hamptons. I only watch Netflix, so there you go. You're the top-ranked real estate broker in both New York City and the state. Oh, wow. Goodness gracious. So what is the most expensive piece of, are we talking commercial or residential?
We're all residential.
Okay, so
I have the pleasure, I work with developers to design and build condo towers. So I get the chance to then represent all of the units in those buildings.
Oh, so have you ever worked with the Donald, or that was
I have not. No, I'm after his time.
So if you don't mind telling us, what's the biggest deal you've ever worked on?
$40 million.
$40 million. You know that will buy you in Southern California? $40 million. Huh?
Okay, no, that was bad joke.
No, $40 million will buy you 5 bedrooms in Brentwood and maybe 20 acres.
I know.
There's
a lot of very expensive real estate in California.
So let me see. Do you know Barbara Corcoran?
Of course.
You do?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I wouldn't say we're personal friends, but of course I know who she is.
Okay. All right. We're not going to go into who knows who game. I know the most famous person around, Ross Jeffries, the seducer of women, but you know my backstory, don't you? All right. So let's see. You're founder of one of the biggest, highest producing brokerage teams in the U.S. What's the name of your team?
The Masters Division.
Ooh, like that.
And there's a story behind that too.
Tell us the story.
So I've been in real estate for about a decade now. And it's very unusual that you see a real estate brokerage team named anything outside of the team lead's name, right? And so it was really important to me when I created this team 4 years ago that I did it a little bit differently and wanted to empower my agents to not build my brand up, but to build their brands up while working together. And that's where a lot of the practices that come from my book are about teamship and camaraderie and collaboration and lifting each other up. I think a lot of that stems from, well, I know a lot of it stems from leadership and the way people feel empowered at work, especially in a sales role.
You know, what comes up for me immediately is I've loved people from different cultures, and in Sweden, the whole focus is on team. I don't know if you're aware of Swedish culture or not, but in Scandinavia in general, they have something called Jantala. Jantala simply means You don't stick your head above the crowd. You don't claim that you're better than anyone else. Everything is done by team. And
I love
so I
that.
really like this approach that you're taking on. You're not Swedish. That's not the
I'm
point. But
no, but
the,
I love that. Mhm.
the point being that you're taking on a really great part of what I think is leadership is you're putting the team first and
Mhm.
letting the team feel empowered and important.
For sure.
Where did
Absolutely.
you get that influence to do? Who was your role model? I'm serious about this question. When someone does do something outside the box, I'm always curious to know who is your role model, or is this always the way you've thought since you were a kid?
I've always been a very collaborative person because I've never liked working alone. But I have worked
Hmm.
for many, many people, and it has not been that way. And so it was seeing what I didn't like about other work environments and cultures that I was in, and just listening to people about how they felt either motivated or demotivated, or inspired by the culture that we had, and then thinking of how do we fix it, and what does that shakeup look like.
I think that's beautiful. I I just think that's beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
That touches me. That's wonderful.
Thank you.
Okay, you've been a frequent expert voice in Forbes, the New York Times, Fox Business, Medium, and The Real Deal. You need to get up off your ass and make a name for yourself. Do something. I mean, you're just you're a sloth and a sluggard, and you must
Yeah,
be a terrible disappointment to your
I
family.
know, I know.
See, I'm Jewish, and my whole thing when I was a kid, if I brought home straight A's, my mother would say, did anyone else why weren't they all A pluses? If they're all A
Yeah.
pluses, it would be, did anyone else on your class get all A pluses? It was never good enough. But you
Oh, I
don't seem to
understand.
me to be motivated that way. You seem to get real joy out of any level of success. Was that your orientation when you were first coming up through the ranks?
Mhm,
I have to imagine being a woman was
mhm.
not easy. Did you did you encounter um I hate using isms, but did you
Yeah.
encounter a lot of sexist attitudes and, oh, look at that pretty smile of yours, instead of people going, she's sharp as shit. I want her on my team.
For sure. I wouldn't say the tides changed until probably a few years ago, actually, where I recognized the seat I had at the table and I took control of the meeting and the room.
Good for
But that
you.
took a lot. That took a lot of years to get there and to have the level of confidence to get there.
So for someone who wants to take control of the room,
Mhm. Oh,
I want to know
that's
how
the
you do it.
advice.
Now, yeah, hold on, we'll get there. I don't know if you've heard of my niece, Vanessa Van Edwards.
No, I have not.
Vanessa teaches how to have charisma and how to send off the social cues of having charisma. So again, taking control of the room, taking
Mhm.
charge of the room. Give us 3 tips for that. And how did you figure that out? Was this your own, like, oh, my wheels are observing people who are good at it. I'm going to model them? Or first of all, give us 3 tips. And then where
Yeah.
did you come up with this?
So if you are in the room, make sure that you are prepared for the meeting. Like I cannot not say that enough. Like the preparation prior to you getting there to make sure that the points you're making, the data is right, the numbers are accurate. You need to be prepared with what you're saying and go in with a game plan. 2, listen more than you speak. Make sure you are looking at body language, making sure that you are engaging the conversation and you're monitoring egos along the way. Just because I always know that I have something to say doesn't mean that I necessarily should say what I want to say at that point in time. You have to read the room and listen.
I'd
And what would
be
the
a failure because I cannot keep my mouth shut.
and I would say the third, a lot of it comes in from not just when you're in the room, but the actions before and after of
Tell me.
doing what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it. The organization and the preparation prior to getting to that meeting, what the coordination looks like, how you're setting the stage, how you're organizing the pieces, and then all of the follow-up items thereafter to show people that you mean business. It's not just about anyone could put on a good show for 30 minutes, right? It's how are you setting up the stage prior to getting there, showing that you mean business, making sure that the team around you is coordinated in what they want to say and how they're acting because they are a reflection of you. And then after you leave that room, making sure that you are giving all of those follow-up items and acting with urgency.
I think what you're talking about is really building trust, and trust only comes from consistency and delivering what you say. You're being congruent. Your actions match your words, and you're consistent, and you're reciprocal.
Mm-hmm.
And this applies, I think, to all human relationships, all of them.
Definitely. I mean, trust is the foundation of every human relationship in order to be successful. And so I think that's an absolute crucial part, but also recognizing that trust is just not given immediately. That builds
No,
over time, and it is destroyed even faster than it is built.
absolutely. And I would think the more money that's involved in the deal, the more you really have to build trust, because money can blind people.
Yep.
And money can drive people's behavior, distort their perception, cause them to do things that perhaps they normally wouldn't do because it's so tied to survival. You would be hard pressed, I think, to say which is the bigger button that people have. Is the button on money, or is it the button on sex? Because they're both related to survival.
Agreed. And I think, that's one thing that I do whenever I enter any room is understanding what is the end goal and what is the motivation of the person sitting across from me on the other end of the table. Because while some people are very driven by money, others may be driven by ego, others may be driven by legacy. It's understanding what is someone trying to build and how do you craft your pitch and your presentation to make sure you are achieving their end goal. And if you can't just do that off the cuff, because that strategy and that timeline looks different for any client depending on what they're motivated by.
How do you elicit that without making it an interrogation? How do you know what you strike me as? This is just my read immediately. You strike me as a stainless steel fist and a velvet glove. Like, don't F
I
with
love
me.
that.
So what is your methodology of eliciting this without appearing to be an interrogator? To me, this is the real gold.
Yeah, totally. I think it's asking questions in a craftful way to guide someone there first. There are times when I walk into a room and someone's like, shoot it to me straight, or like they have no time for me and they want to know what my proposition is in 1 minute. I believe in dating before we get married, so there's a little bit of a song and dance.
I'm sorry, you're not Jewish. We can't do it.
But it's different in each industry that I'm participating in, but in the development space, which is really my main business, it's understanding, why someone built a building. What inspired and what motivated them when they built that building? Where was the inspiration for the end user when they were thinking about the product? And a lot of the times the answers are divulged by listening to someone speak about it. A lot of those cues, they give me themselves.
The common perception is builders are just driven by greed and money. That's what they want. And by the way, I'm prejudiced against builders because my neighborhood, Hillcrest, has been destroyed by builders. Like every fourth corner they're building, and about 500 feet from my condo, they're going to start ripping down the strip mall and putting up a big block of apartments. I'm going to have to move from this place because of developers. But aren't they all driven by money? That's profit.
No, definitely not. I think there's definitely people who, especially developers that I work with, who think about like, what is the sustainability they're bringing to their product? Or how am I creating community? Or how am I creating a legacy or a brand or building from one project to another and creating longevity in someone's home buying cycle? It's different for everyone, and where I come in and how I step in and how I change the narrative of these buildings is through storytelling.
I love this. Whoa. Press the pause button. See, when someone has a genius and they drop bomb, gold like that. Storytelling. Stories are so powerful. I teach, this is about you, not me, but I teach how to use hypnotic stories to salespeople and because I'm a hypnotist, to embed hypnotic suggestion and build a story that puts people in a
Trance.
state of suggestion. Yeah, I'll say a freaking a buying frenzy trance. But tell us about, I'm serious, that's what I do.
I love it.
Well, I'll get you a signed copy of an autographed copy of my book.
Please, please.
But I really will. But you got to promise to read it.
Oh, of course.
Okay. So, where did you learn the art of storytelling, and how do you make the other party the hero of the story, if indeed that's what you do?
That is exactly what I do.
You clever, clever lady.
So in the beginning days when I was breaking into this space, I didn't start with buildings from ground up development. I was coming in on takeover projects. So a project that was listed with another sales team, and sales had lingered. There was no more inspiration behind it. There was no more creativity in the marketing, or salespeople actually just get burnt out and exhausted because these projects could take years to sell. So I would come in and say, how do we reinvigorate energy and life into a building that feels lifeless? That's through a story, right? That's through touching the consumer in a way that feels different than just putting pretty pictures online. It's helping them envision, what does their family look like when they live here? How does their commute to work feel different when they get to take a ferry instead of a train? That's part of the story. How do they feel when they're working from home in their residence lounge in this incredible space that has a green wall behind them?
I
And
want to buy.
right?
I'm serious. It's a great talent. I think this is a secret of your success. You know how to ask the right questions and enables you to weave the right story. I bet you, as much as your ability to network and find deals, this is your secret sauce that I think no one else likely does in the space.
Well, thank you. I agree with that. And I think it's the same thing for selling a product as it is for connecting with people. And, that's really what inspired me writing the book at the end of the day, because it started as a real estate book. It did not end up being a real estate book. It ended up being, how do we connect with each other through understanding our own story and telling our story, stepping into and embracing our authenticity and our vulnerability,
Oh,
and deepening our connections.
I love it. Vulnerability is a big touch point for me because
Mhm.
I found that everyone wants to be vulnerable, but they want the other person to go first
Yep.
because vulnerability is frightening.
Terrifying.
And I think your ability to project power and vulnerability, because if you only project vulnerability, you're not going to be respected. If you
Mhm.
only project power, you're not going to be trusted, and there's not going to be the trust to have a genuine two-way communication. So I want to know, where did you learn the ability? See, I'm not asking typical questions, am I?
No, no, but I
So,
love
so
it.
where did you, I know, this is why guests love my show. Where did you learn, how did you learn
Okay.
this ability to balance power with vulnerability?
So the
Did you have a role model?
okay.
You have a role model? Did you pick it up in school? How did you, or
No,
was it
so
natural?
no, I was raised in like a very strong-headed Italian family where your reputation and your brand is everything, and
Ah,
everything's great all of the time. And there is no vulnerability because you're always
oh,
strong and everything. So that's where I came from. When I was cast to be on the TV show, which I was very against reality TV because I think it portrays only the good, and I think a lot of it's scripted and it's not real and it's
it
not
is.
authentic.
I've been there.
Yeah. So I was against it from that point, but uh behind the scenes I was also terrified because I was going through one of the hardest points in my entire life, where my father was a convicted felon, and he was incarcerated.
Oh my goodness.
And now all of a sudden, I had to be on TV and portray and be this strong woman
We
who
push the
had it all
pause
figured
button a
out.
minute.
Yes.
I'm not joking.
Yeah.
Um, I I to this day, I lost my mom in 2007, my dad in 2008. And to this
I'm so
day,
sad.
they're my best friends in my heart. They live every time I do something the way they wanted me to live. their highest values and I connect heart to heart with someone I care for, they're
Mhm.
alive in my heart. So I can empathize the incredible pain of, forget about the TV show for a minute. You have this man you love and you look up to. He's still there, but you can't have him present with you. Must have torn you apart as a human being.
It was it definitely tore me apart. It was a very, very traumatic time that totally rattled my identity, um, my relationships with my family, because um, I mean, if it was controversial, it was tense. We had lost all our money, and now we were dealing with the criminal justice system. It was completely overwhelming and at such a young age. And also, my hero, who I thought never made mistakes, now made a grave one, a grave one
Horrible.
that I needed to cope with all of that while also being strong and figure out how do we navigate and get out of this and
It's
keep everyone
terrible.
healthy and intact.
So this burden of taking care of the family and recovering from this fell on your shoulders?
Well, if you can't tell, I'm the cheerleader and the positive one, and I band
Yes.
people together, and
Yeah.
I hold everyone tight. And so,
But those people collapse when they don't take care of their own needs. I know this
oh,
to be true.
and that collapse that comes later in the story. So don't worry,
Let's
that ended
hear.
up happening. But at that point in time, I knew I needed to put my head down, and I needed to fight, and I needed to do everything in my power, whether or not what he did, I know what he did was wrong, but I needed to make the decisions for how I would be able to live with myself at the end of it. Like I defined myself as being an incredible daughter and a family person. So how at that point in time could I do anything different? I couldn't. That needed to become the priority. And that was very, very hard.
I understand. I come from a tight-knit Jewish family. I think Italians and Jews have a lot of commonalities.
Yes.
The mother who instills a lot of guilt, the Italian
Oh,
guilt and Jewish guilt. It's the same thing.
I
You know,
know.
sono americano, no parlo italiano, bella.
Beautiful.
So go ahead. So you moved through this thing with your dad, but the question I believe,
Mhm.
what I got
Was
so,
embracing vulnerability. How did I
yes.
do that? So then I was cast to be on this TV show, and I said yes. And then they said, well, this is going to come out in the news and in the media. And I said, oh, wow. So my producer said, you could either decide to tell the story your way or let the world tell your story. The power is yours. What do you want to do? And so for the first time, instead of, I had never talked, I didn't talk about it with my friends. I barely talked about it with a lot of my family who felt one way or another about it. Now all of a sudden I'm on a TV set with camera crews and I am talking about my father getting arrested and how earth shattering that was for me. And then through interviews and this, and what it was actually therapeutic. It was terrifying. But I realized through all of that, I had like this black shadow over me of not wanting anyone to find out or not thinking people this happened to me or not being, being too weak, um, or having this define me. And for the first time, I've said, wow, this doesn't define me. I am a great person. And I am so pure to my intentions and my integrity and my values. And I lift people up and I love my business and I'm positive and I'm enthusiastic. That's my story, and
What
that all
what a
came out of that moment of adversity.
what a wonderful discovery to make, that by leaning into the sharp point of that pain, you discovered who you really are and
Mhm.
that you bring that forward now in your business. I think
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
remarkable, that with great, Carlos Castaneda wrote the book, Teachings of Don Juan. And Don Juan supposedly was this Yaqui Indian medicine man. He used peyote. And the
Mhm.
big quote was, a fine power is always heralded by great pain. So you
I
managed to
totally
do
get
that personal alchemy. And I
that.
think this is what my niece teaches you. You have warmth, but you also have capability. You also have competency. And that, I think, is part of your secret. No matter how you tamp it down, no matter how you decide, okay, I'm going to be quiet and listen more than I talk, I think you have a charisma. It's got nothing to do with being on TV. And it's not the kind of, hear me out. I'm not trying to butter your bread. Hear me out. It's a specific kind of charisma. It's not Tony Robbins. Yeah, everyone jump up. It's sneaky. It is, sneaky implies bad. It is stealthy. And people will not know it till after they've signed on the dotted line and they come out of the ether and go, what did she just do to me? What is the name of your book, by the way?
Mastering Intentions, 10 Practices to Amplify Your Power and Lead with Lasting Impact.
What, can you have a copy you can hold up to the camera?
Of course I do. Oh, I don't have it right here on my book. It's right over there.
You're not prepared. You're violating your own rules.
I'm like, it's two steps away.
Take it. We don't care.
Okay, great. We get it.
Take it. Nice chair. That's an executive chair.
Here it is.
Wow, look at that. Mastering Intentions. Love the red power suit. This is fantastic. So who has been, you can't name names, but I don't want you to name names. I don't want to get you into trouble. But who has been the most, I can't have you name names.
Correct.
I won't have you name names, but have you ever had a situation where you poured everything into it and the promised paperwork never showed up and you just, everything like crashed and burned?
Yes, many times with clients, with businesses, partnerships. I think I move very fast, and I always have a lot of things going on. And I know that the way I operate is that if I give you my word, you have my word, and I pour everything into you. And I've changed my business to making sure that I am working with people who understand and respect that about me. When I was first starting off, I did not. So I had a bad partnership before I started my current company, where we had worked together phenomenally well until we didn't, and egos got involved. And all of a sudden, it was either continue to fight for what was rightfully mine, or, say, the universe has an incredible way of coming back around, and I'm going to put all of my energy, instead of on fighting on the bad, on focusing on the good and on the next chapter. And that's what I did. And out of that came this company. So I wouldn't have done it any other way. And I do the same thing with current clients now. If someone does not, I will always show up honestly and fairly and with my full force and energy. But if someone does not respect or understand or appreciate that, then they're not the right person to be working with me. And that's okay.
That willingness to walk away to take your chips, walk away from the table, that's powerful too. People sense it. People sense that this person does not need this deal. So you don't make scared money decisions.
No. Or, there's a lot of exits in business. I'm going through one right now. A client who's deciding that they don't want to work with me anymore at this point in time. And the response is, great. I wish you well. Let me know everything I could do to wrap this up in a bow for you so you could move on to the next chapter. And I know our paths will cross again. And I promise you, because it has happened many, many times, they always come back because I know most people don't exit that way. They will say, well, you owe me this and I did this for you and I'm entitled to this. I deserve this. And they'll fight. They'll put on their gloves and they'll fight with the client.
Yeah.
You know what? Sometimes I wish you the best. I know I showed up and I did everything. The market is speaking for itself. I have given you everything I have. If you think that there's better else out there, go. And if anything ever changes, I will be right here.
This is my dating philosophy, except I'm not there. Once I'm gone, I'm gone.
I'm not saying this is the same philosophy for dating. I don't take this approach in that regard.
Wait a minute. Do this for a second.
I am not married, but I am happily committed in a relationship.
Oh, I know his initials or her initials.
His.
His LB stands for lucky bastard. Tell him that someone interviewed you for a podcast and that
I will.
he has to be an extraordinarily confident and secure man.
He
So
is incredible.
he doesn't feel like he has to compete with you, and that he can be a good support for your success and
Yep.
cheer you on. I think for someone who's brilliant and high powered like you, the ability to find someone who's on your team
Mhm.
and doesn't need to, someone who has the power to control you, but is so secure they don't want to.
Mhm.
Is that a hit?
That's 100% it. And I write about this in my book
Tell
because,
us.
you know, prior to meeting my partner, I had thought about what is the list of what I want someone else to be. You know, we all create these lists. And then, well, we've been together a year. It was about 9 months before that. I believe in the power of manifestation
Me
tremendously.
too.
Instead of focusing on the list of someone else, I said, who do I want to be in that relationship? Who's Bianca? Not who's the other person. How do I
Exactly.
show up? And I wrote it on a piece of paper and I taped it in my home on the wall. And I did that for every single person. Who do I want to be to my sister? Who do I want to be to my mom, to my dad, to my grandparents, to my coworkers? How does Bianca show up? I call this my companion audit in my book.
It's brilliant. It's so contrarian to what everyone else says. Everyone says, make a list of your partner. What will they be like? All the characteristics. I love hearing this because one of my intents with the
Mhm.
podcast is to bring people who are contrarians and are on the edge of things, hence the title. I
Mhm.
love this. And now I'm going to ask again, where did you get this orientation to think against the grain and think outside the box and go, no, no, that's bullshit. I'm going to do it a different way.
Because I think that we wish for other circumstances or other people to bring something to us, but instead of trying to change other people's behaviors, the only person we can control is ourselves. And I have had the chance, and we all have the chance to reinvent ourselves a million times over. We just have to want to. And so I made this very intentional decision of I want to reinvent myself to be someone who is deserving of a partner who loves me, who where I could show up and be vulnerable, where I could display
Beautiful.
my feminine side of myself that I don't get to display in my professional space because I'm hyper masculine in the workplace. I don't want that for a relationship. So
No,
instead of focusing on someone else's hyper masculinity, how about instead I focus on me showing up as being feminine?
I
Me
love it. I love it. You're flexible enough to be feminine, and where you absolutely are pushed, if you're pushed to it, you can be
Yeah.
a boss babe. But
Yes.
no, that's not appealing in a relationship.
Correct. And that is okay. Like the duality of life is okay. We don't need to be the same persona in every relationship, in every room, in every situation that we're in. It's okay for us to be malleable and to change not only at various points in time during the day, but various stages of our life.
I agree. And I would say most people are not capable of doing that without guidance, because the natural tendency of human beings is to want certainty and to do things one way and to not have variation. We're pulled towards novelty, but we're also frightened by it if we think our ego is on the line. And so that's that's an amazing, and this would seem to me, based on the human it's coming across to me, a central point of how you live your life across all contexts, whether it's personal, business. I love it. That's fantastic. And did you have a role model for this? Did you read a book? I always want to know where these unique viewpoints come from. This is
I
me getting you on my psychologist couch.
I didn't. For this, no, I didn't. Honestly, um, I've always been someone who makes lists. Listen, I manifest and I have my manifestation practice. I make lists, I have my goals, and I've had all of these practices. And then I guess one thing I did here is I heard in a podcast someone talking about implementing systems into your weekly routine and creating a day every week to optimize your systems. So it was a few years ago that I said every single Sunday for the year, I'm going to focus my Sunday on optimizing a different system in my life. And once I got through my business systems, I'm like, okay, well, what are my personal systems that I need to work on? And I just started kind of breaking the mold of like, okay, well, my goal setting, the way that I do my goals, it's toxic. I can't do that anymore. I have to scrap that and I have to come up with a new way that I make my goals. And the way that I'm, evaluating my relationships, what does that look like? Okay, this is not serving me. It's not serving me. How do I fix it? And so it became through that practice that I came into, okay, well, it was the new year and I was finally honestly, I'd gotten out of a relationship 2.5 years prior to that, and where I hadn't dated, I hadn't focused on anyone else. All I had focused on was Bianca becoming a better person. I said, I'm ready to focus on what that looks like, but I don't know how to go about it. I was terrified of the idea of putting myself out there, or putting myself out there and then compromising my business. I needed to make sure I could have a personal life, but not at a business expense. And so I came up with this system practice.
You could teach that and make it different.
Yeah. Yes.
Now it's back. Got a loose connection. We are actually past time. So
this is so much fun. I don't want it to end.
I don't want it to end either, but I have to hit the gym. And also I need to feed this cat and dose her with her gabapentin because she's very anxious kitty.
Oh, gosh.
I'll take care of it. Don't worry about it. Bianca, it's been fabulous having you on the show. Hang on for a green room chat after. Show us the book again.
You got it. It's right here.
Other than the book, in addition to the book, if my audience wants to stay in the conversation with you, how did they do that?
Well, all day, every day on Instagram. You could find me at Bianca D'Alessio. I also post daily on LinkedIn, and you could visit my website for more resources and tools at biancadalessio.com.
Thank you, Bianca. Stay on for a little green room chat. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, do I bring you the great guests or do I bring you the great guests? Once again, we have disconnected the dots, colored outside the lines, and my guest has thought outside the box. So thanks for tuning in, and to the hostile alien armada hovering just outside of Earth's atmosphere in their cloaked spaceships, remember, eat the Canadians first, and we'll see you on the next episode.
The Influencer's Edge is brought to you by the Rapid Sales Accelerator. If you're ready to skyrocket your sales by 30% or more in just 90 days, then you need to claim your free training right now. You'll learn 4 words that will compel your prospects to trust you like they were children within the first 3 to 5 minutes of any conversation across any platform and any medium. You'll learn how to give your prospects objection amnesia, to crush objections like, I need to talk to my spouse, or I need more time to think it over, or it's too expensive. If you'd like to claim your free training now, go to www.paulrossbook.com. Do it before your competition does it now. Welcome to the Influencer's Edge. This is the place where you come to get the latest breakthroughs, cutting-edge insights, tools, and techniques to leapfrog over the pack in sales, persuasion, and influence. Be sure you visit our website at www.theinfluencersedge.com. And while you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now sit back, tune in, and enjoy today's episode.